I could have been a model. I could have been a really famous star by now. It didn't happen. So I'm starting my own podcast. I'm doing it on my own. My first 2 episodes, I think the total cost was like 3,000 USD for the equipment, shooting, studio, editing, etc. 3,000 per episode. My own teacher told my mom, hey, your son is not going to be any useful if he stays in Hong Kong. He's not going to make it in Hong Kong. If you have the ability, send him somewhere else. Now that I'm getting my doctorate degree, it's like, where did this come from? I want to be able to sell out stadiums.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's the goal.
Hi, this is Will Chang. And today we have a special guest, one of my really good friends, Taylor Lowe.
Hi, Will. How's it going?
So this is a special experiment. We haven't talked in a few years. And I actually went back to when we first talked on this podcast. It was actually episode 5. And it was 5 years ago since that first conversation. And during that time, you were going to business school, you were working at Expedia, you were also playing professional basketball at the same time. Since those 5 years, and I've caught up with you sporadically, but actually, like, I haven't caught up in the last couple of years. And this podcast experiment is for us to catch up in live on a podcast. But basically, since that time, you've changed your career or changed your job, you've gotten married, you've had a kid, and you started a podcast, right? And so I'm excited to actually cover all of that because we haven't actually really talked much about that the last few years since we. So let's get started. How are you doing, Taylor?
Well, first of all, thank you, Will, for having this special experiment with me, right? I'm doing great. Kind of tired, but I'm doing great. Life is good. Like you mentioned, the last time we chat was really 5 years ago, and within 5 years, so many things changed within my life, and I'm sure there are changes in your life as well, right? And I'm just really excited to go into everything for the past 5 years.
Yeah, so I think the question that I want to ask first is, what is it like being a father and being a husband? Because at the time, I remember you're still single, and so that transition has happened pretty quickly. So what's that transition like for you?
It's actually quite amazing. Like, you know, I was single for quite a while. Like, I was really dedicated with basketball, work, and then B school, right? And then I met my then girlfriend, now wife, at LKF, you know, at a club. Like, it's kind of like a fairy tale story, right? I met her in a club. We hit it off really well, and then we got engaged within the first year that we kind of, you know, were together, and then we got married, and then within a few months she got pregnant. So everything happened in like a split second, you know. Like, imagine 5 years, we haven't chatted in 5 years, and now I'm expecting my second daughter.
Oh, you're having a second one. Oh, wow.
The first one is my son.
Congratulations. I didn't even know you had a coming daughter coming. When does she do?
She's due end of January.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really soon.
Yeah. So go back to your question, right? Like, being a dad now is like having more responsibility. Like, when we met or when we hung out, you know, we could just do whatever we wanted, right? Like, no responsibility, no pressure in life. But now it's like, when I wake up, I think like, okay, I need to do good today so that eventually I can take care of my son. Especially like in today's day and age, it's just so crazy. Like, things are so unpredictable, unstable. All I can do is to try my best to provide to provide whatever I could for my son and my daughter in the future. And then regarding of being a husband, is like, I think it's more like having a wife that really supports you. Like, no matter what you go through, you have someone that is next to you that are on your side, in your corner, and just be there whenever you need help or someone to talk to. I think that's the most important part. Before, I didn't have anyone to talk to, like deep conversations, especially with like pressures and like troubles that I'm facing. Now that I can talk to her, she can give me her perspective, and then from that, and then I can kind of go off and kind of do my own thing. Yeah.
You mentioned in today's world, instability, could you expand a little bit more about that and tell me a little bit more about where, like, what you mean by that?
Yeah. I think since you're in the US and I'm in Hong Kong, it might be a little bit different, but the overarching theme I think is still very similar. For example, um, is AI gonna change the world, right? Are people gonna be unemployed because of AI? And now that I've switched to a global social media company, like we are in the front of the AI revolution. And and I just feel like there's so many uncertainties, especially for, let's say, how I raised my kid, because the way that we were raised might not be useful for him in the next 10, 15 years, because you probably don't need to know like the history of, let's say, America, for example, right? Because with one click you can get all the answers. It's more like, how do you ask questions, critical thinking. So these are like the uncertain things that I think is changing on a daily basis, where I kind of feel like there's no security as well.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, so 5 years ago, I remember the conversation actually. It was September 2020, right during COVID,
Yeah, yeah,
and you're working for a travel company,
yeah, yeah.
and that was like a crazy time, and that was very uncertain. And now you're at Meta, and I know a lot of these big tech companies are implementing AI, and there's a bit of a stress because you don't know who's going to get let go, right? In terms of like, um, they hired a ton during COVID, and now basically they're doing like these things where they're trying to figure out who to cut every single year, and there's a lot of pressure there. And I can imagine not only that part of it, but also seeing kind of the consumers being having more AI access and what that looks like and what does the world look like today. Right? And so I know that as you're thinking about AI, you're also thinking about like what is your unique value add to in contribution to society, and how can you be not AI'd out, but how can you be like figure out what your superpowers are and how you can contribute to society and add value to society. Where are you at with that?
Oh, that's great question. You mentioned I started a podcast, right? Um, just to give a little bit more context, I started a podcast because of you guys. Like my first my first time being a guest was on your podcast. And 5 years ago, when podcasts just kind of started, like overall, and then I just felt like it's a great way to communicate with people, connect with people, because that was during COVID. And then fast forward to 5 years later with all these uncertainties. Like, the reason why I'm doing this is because, like, in real life experience are more important than just virtual. And for example, my podcast, DWIT, it's all about like the journey, the obstacles, the setbacks, and how do you overcome it. Because we can all look at success online, right? Like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, there are plenty of like content showing like, oh, this person is so successful driving a Ferrari, Lamborghini, blah, blah, blah. But not a lot of people actually talk about the whole process, the journey, right? And when things are uncertain, you need something to, comfort you, and just some like juicy content where it might actually be quite boring, to be honest. But if you're going through something and you somehow clicked onto this clip, you might resonate with it. I think that's what I wanted to contribute as of now.
Yeah, I mean, I when I look at your podcast and the video, and I'm like, man, I pinged you because like, man, it's so high quality, and it makes it feel like such a high production. And I'm very curious about how you do it. But I think before we get into the guests, and I would love to dive into each of your guests because they're all very unique and interesting, I wanted to actually ask you about the why, because when you talk about setbacks, I think it's kind of a sports themed podcast a little bit. And when we talk about setbacks, you had a lot of setbacks in your own basketball career, right? And I'd imagine that that's kind of where the heart of the questions are coming from, is like, what do you do when you face these setbacks? So just to give a little bit of context of how you set up this podcast, can you go into the setbacks that you faced with
Yeah,
your basketball career?
yeah, yeah. So That's a great question. Well, the reason why I started this podcast is because 3 years ago I tore my ACL. And my whole life has been about basketball, right? So I was competing at the highest level in Hong Kong. I was at the best shape, but I was more, more towards the tail end. I was like 35 years old. So, but I was at the best shape. And then off season during a men's league, I tore my ACL. And like it just went black in front of me, right? Like everything that I've trained so hard for the past 6 years, all of a sudden, with one step that I've made a million times, it just snapped. Tearing an ACL is like 6 to 9 months recovery minimum. So at that moment, I was like, what should I do? Like my life was surrounded by basketball, no matter if it's work or like my daily life, there are basketball elements in there. So I started having different thoughts. That was the same time I decided to go to further my education with my DBA program. We can talk about that later. But then my manager actually told me that, hey, you don't have to just be the player. You could do something. You can be the coach of the company team and still be actively participating while you're recovering, right? So that was my first initial thought. Okay, I need to change my identity, my mindset. And then while I was doing my rehab, I told myself I'm gonna record everything and then post it online. I don't care if it's good or bad, like what the quality is gonna be like. At that time, I didn't even know how to like edit videos, but I just wanted to share, like what I'm going through because a lot of people are going through the same thing, tearing ACL or tearing or other injuries. It's all about the mindset. While I was doing that, I kind of enjoyed being a content creator, basically. and then I started having this idea of maybe let's push it further, right? Not just rehab related. What about really showing the Mamba mentality mindset that we talked about 5 years ago? And then that's kind of how DWIT, was born. Like do whatever it takes. It's all about the mindset. It's a way of life. This is what we preach here. So that's kind of how we started the brand. And it was because of one injury that happened 3 years ago, into now that I want to translate it into more of a in real life experience for people to hear, to listen, to stream online, but at the same time, have a great conversation with my guests.
And what are the guests? Can you just name them and then kind of talk a little bit about them?
Yeah. So my first guest was actually my coach, career coach. So I've been working with a career coach for the last 4 years. She helped me through the transition of my jobs. She helped me through my rehab process, right? Like she also told me that it's okay to find your own identity. This is a quote from her. It's not basketball that made me special. It's Taylor who is special, which I thought was very deep. Yeah, so that was my first guest, and then I had like a professional basketball player like come in to share about his mindset, his journey. He was he played in Taiwan, and then his idol was Jeremy Lin, and then he actually got a chance to play against him, right? So it's a great story. And then I also have like a founder of one of the most elite strength and conditioning gyms in Hong Kong. And then my last one was with a physio. But she is not just a physio, she is a model, she's a content creator, she's got a big following, and then she tore her ACL like 5 times. Yeah, so she just finished her 6th surgery, so now she's going through the whole process again.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
6 times is insane.
So that's kind of my season
Yeah.
one like lineup,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they all seem to have a common through line. And yeah, they all are incredibly interesting. What do you think you've learned the most from this experience so far?
You're not alone.
Mm,
Okay, as in, okay, let me explain a little bit more, right? As in,
mm,
like, we all go through certain things in life where we feel like it's the end of our life, like,
mm,
this is it. But then we all somehow figure a way out
mm,
to overcome this, right?
mhm,
And I think the biggest takeaway from talking to these guests are like, what happened to me is actually not that bad.
mm.
I tore my ACL, sure, yeah. She tore her ACL 5 times, right? Like, you can't compare. Um, the coach, the gym founder, right? Like, he started his gym during COVID. Like, he put all his money in, and then COVID happened, and then he was at the like edge of going bankrupt. So what happened to me is just nothing. But we all have that mindset of pushing it through, right?
Mhm.
So that's kind of my biggest takeaway talking to different people.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I've been learning recently, or like recognizing, is actually our traumas are superpower,
Yeah,
and the journey that we take and the downs that we get and what we overcome is what our gifts to the world. And whatever path or journey that we take, we actually acquire gifts because of the hardships that we face, that
yeah.
we can contribute. Yeah.
And it's important to share it too, like, because that's what I want to do, right? To share a funny story. I was talking to my wife after my first episode. I was like, I feel like I'm not talking enough, I'm not sharing enough. But then she gave me one comment which I thought was very useful. She's like, you're not the star. You're
Mm-hmm.
not the guest. You're just the host.
Mm-hmm.
You're here to learn about what happened from their perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that kind of changed my mindset from that day on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's how I feel too. Usually on my podcast is that like I'm here to make the guest look good
Yeah.
and try to pull as much as I can out of the guest and make them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what I do. What's crazy is that this episode is going to be the 154th episode. And so you're fifth and 154th. Is that
You
crazy?
guys are really hardworking. Like 154 episodes is crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I've had my reps in for podcasts. It's gotten to a point now where we could do this, where I in the when I was interviewing you, I can't remember it anymore because it's such a long time ago. But when I was interviewing you, like the number five, I must have been so nervous. But at least for now, like I've done it enough times where I can just turn on a mic and we can just go. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm still at the process where I need to do my research. I need to plan the structure, all the questions. I need to have everything in my mind, like the
yeah,
transitioning from segments to segment, and then I go for it. Like I'm
yeah.
still at that phase. Yeah,
Well, yours is a little bit different because you actually are doing it live with video in person.
yeah,
Right. Whereas for me, it's all audio and then it's remote. So I can have notes
mm,
up and not really like, and so it's completely different in that the stage that you're playing at is way more intense than what I'm doing. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you, but yeah, I feel like I want this, right. Like I
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
because it is also great, but
Yeah.
having like the in real life experience,
Yeah.
hearing from them, like
Yeah.
seeing their emotions, reactions, that is like a next level shit that I
So
think is
yeah,
great.
so tell me more about how you prepare and tell me more about the setup. Um, and how does it look so nice and professional?
Okay, okay. Let me kind of take a step back, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, if I were to interview you as a guest, right?
Hmm.
We might have a session like this
Yeah.
just to share where I'm at, where I'm coming from, what is DWIT, and then I will usually ask a question. I'll be like, Will, are there any things that you want to share or top of mind right now that you think is important? So it could be something that you're working on, something that you feel like, or a lot of times, let's say like the physio, they're opening a new location, right? So that was like the main thing. And then I like to go back and understand the whole story. Like, for example, if Will, you want to talk about, let's say you're starting a new startup, right? Like, then I want to understand why are you so interested in startup, right? And then it might go back all the way to being in Beijing, how it influenced you, seeing the world differently. And then I like to do it in a more storytelling way. So it starts from the beginning to what is going on, like what are the obstacles, and then the DWIT moment is where how they did whatever it took to overcome it. And then the last one is more like a rapid fire questions, or sometimes we have some different segments or things that they want to share. Yeah, so that's kind of like the whole flow of the pod. And then once I had this initial chat, then we will be like, I'll write everything down, and I'll use different AI softwares to help me streamline and like brainstorm. and then usually this takes like a few days, as in like I'll come and work on it for like a few hours. I'll go work, I'll go play basketball, and I'll come back. I'll use a different AI software, and I'll try regen and see what other things comes up, right? And then I'll send a version to the guests so that they can prep, just to understand where I'm coming from. If time is allowed, we'll have another session, another pre-recording session, so that we're all aligned. And then because it's live, and it's kind of
Yeah.
live, and it's in person, right? You kind of need to be on point as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I go for it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the whole setup, the whole like flow of how I
Yeah.
prepare.
Amazing. And then what's the setup like production wise?
Oh, this is another story I can tell you. Like I feel like I've been constantly optimizing how I'm doing this, right?
Mm,
So the first two episodes, I did it with a crew, what the first crew that I worked with. So we have a person that comes in, she's more like a director, and then there's a cameraman that will have like two cameras, lighting, and then setup is gonna take usually 45 minutes. And then because I'm in Hong Kong, right, like I need to go rent a studio. Um, Renting a studio could be $50 per hour USD, right? But then if you want to shoot videos within the studio, it costs like 150.
mm,
So my cost just boom goes up.
mm, mhm.
And then my first crew, like we were still trying to work together.
These are
Um,
friends or these are people you found or what was your crew? How did you find a crew?
it was a friend of friends.
Mm,
Yeah. And then it was pretty expensive. Like my
mhm,
first two episodes, I think the total cost was like 3,000 USD
mm,
for the equipment, shooting, studio, editing, etc.
mhm.
3,000 USD per episode. I mean, because it was my first time, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I just have to pay and just to
Yeah.
learn and see how things go, and then we'll optimize it along the way, right?
Right.
And then after two episodes, I'm like, I just can't, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I love doing this, but I just can't be spending a few thousand per
Yeah.
episode. You know, you
Right.
get what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And then I found another crew, which is another friend, a really close friend, and then he was able to do a half price,
Mm,
half the price with even more cameras. So we
mm.
started off with only two cameras, so just like this, it would be a facing you and facing me, and then we added in another third camera where we have the shot of like a wider shot,
Did they
and
provide
then
the cameras or do you have to buy your own cameras?
oh, they provide everything. I
Okay.
usually just bring my mics.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah. So we started working on. I started working with that crew, and then I started to look for guests where they have their own spot.
Mm,
Y-
that's
You know,
smart.
I mean, it
Yeah.
makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the gym, the
Yeah.
physio, they have
Yeah.
their own spot, and then
Yeah.
it's better for them as well, right? It's a
It also
promotion.
changes it up too, the videos, and then you can actually it's actually more interesting because of the background and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The background, and then we can do some behind the scene,
Yeah.
whatever, right? So that was my second version of optimization, and
Mhm.
then the latest season. So I'm done with season one. Five
Mhm.
episodes, season one. I'm done.
Yeah.
I've started working on season two.
Yeah.
The first episode, I actually flew to Taiwan. I shot it in Taiwan, and then I hired a crew in Taiwan. Never worked with them, just went for
Wow.
it. Right?
Yeah.
It's actually not bad. It's
Yeah.
also because I gained experiences throughout
Yeah.
the first season, so I kind
Yeah.
of know what I'm doing. I kind of know what they're doing as well, right? And then recently, I found a co-working space in Hong Kong where they have this section is dedicated for shooting podcasts.
Mm.
And the cost for this one is half is even lower than my second one. So it started with a few thousand,
Yeah.
and then it ended with like 1,000. Now it's like
Yeah.
500.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
and then he does all the editing, everything, right? So I'm like, okay, 500 per episode. Okay, maybe like 400. It's doable
That's
for
pretty
now.
good. Yeah. That's doable for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
It's doable because I don't for the latest one, I just need to go there
Yeah.
with my guests. That's it. They have everything set up, and it's a really nice like environment. And then so I'm planning on buying like packages with them, and then they're gonna give me even a bigger discount. So I'm constantly optimizing how I work. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the pod side, right?
Yeah.
And then the editing side, there's another story I can share if you want.
Yeah. Share it, please.
Yeah, yeah. So I like to call it a light asset model right now
Hmm.
because I'm not making any money, right? Like this is pure expense, no revenue. So it's
Yeah.
not even a business model. I feel like it's just a side project right now.
Hmm.
Um, but then I need to make sure that I have enough like resource to do this. So I've split it up. I have someone who clips the highlights of the clip of the pod, and then writes like the captions, the descriptions for me, or brainstorm with me. So that's one part. And then once we have that done, I'll pass it to a virtual assistant, meaning that someone in the Philippines that I've never seen. We just communicate online, and it's like a by project base. So I'll give them the clips, the timelines, the timestamps, and then they'll just edit the reels for me.
Amazing. Yeah.
So what
Those
you see
reels are so
online,
nice. Yeah.
yeah,
The reason why I actually reached out to you was like, damn, Taylor, like your reels are so amazing. How are you doing this? Yeah, they're
yeah. So
nice.
it's
Yeah.
not done. It's not done by me. It's actually
Yeah.
done by my virtual assistant
Yeah.
in the Philippines.
Very cool.
And a lot of podcasters, a lot of influencers are actually going this route, even in the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so the person that actually edits our podcast is Louis, who's from the Philippines. So
Mm.
he does our podcast for. Actually, I've used him for a bunch of podcasts, but for this podcast as well as my company, Parting Pros podcast, we do like a YouTube video, YouTube channel, and then yeah, he edits that as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's super important. Super
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's so that you can work on the things that actually give you energy,
Yeah.
and so like doing all the other things, like it's just sucking up energy, and you want to just focus on things that give you energy.
Yeah. And I mean, think about it. I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
I I need to continuously like rehab my knees so that I can compete at a certain level when I play basketball, right?
Hmm.
I have a newborn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a second one, and then I'm also like in B school, right? Like
Yeah.
there's so many things in my life going on. Clipping, like time stamping my clips are not the priority right now. So
Yeah.
I have to outsource it. Yeah.
Was it helpful in establishing relationships as well with the people that you were guests, or were you already close to them, or
Good
how does
question.
that work? Yeah.
Good question. So my coach, obviously we have a great relationship, right?
Yeah.
But then let's say for the professional basketball player, the coach, the founder of the gym, these are people that I competed against. The guy who I played against in the same league, he's on a different team, but I've always respected him. We never really talked, so never really had a relationship, but we knew each other. And then the coach actually he trained me. He trained me before I tore my ACL, so he pushed me to another level. And then I actually feel like because my body, like my energy was so much stronger, but my body wasn't ready for it. That's why it snapped. So not all the time I have a relationship, but I at least know them for a while. But we might not be very close. But starting in season 2, I've reached out to people that I kind of don't know at all, and
Mm.
just and then go for it and
Hmm.
start doing that. Yeah.
What was the one in Taiwan?
Okay, so Taiwan one is kind of crazy. So the Taiwan one is actually a really good friend of mine that I've known for 30 years. He's Kanto guy, but he's pursuing like a business in Taiwan. So he just started like a new cafe with a branding and marketing business together, and then like their own restaurants, and then so I thought it was a great chance to go there and see what he has been doing, and then just learn about it, right, and then share with the audience. And then I'm also gonna go back and shoot another one. With so this one is called Chill Taiwan. So I think it's very similar to what you're doing right now. It's cold plunges and hot sauna.
Mm. Hmm.
So it's for recovery.
Yeah.
So I believe they are the first one in Taipei.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So when I went last time, it was originally to shoot the podcast as well, but the store wasn't ready. But now they're finally launched, so I should be going back next year to shoot a podcast and try it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to Taipei in January, so let me know
Oh,
the location because I want to do it.
yeah.
I want to do it. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'll introduce you to the founder. He's super chill. Yeah, I think you guys will hit it off.
amazing. Thank you. How do you know him?
Yeah, yeah. Family friend. I've known him since I was 5.
Oh wow,
So
amazing.
I met him when I was in New Zealand. So it was family friends all the way back from New Zealand, and then
Oh
now that
wow.
we start connecting again. Yeah.
And then what are your what's your on your list of like your like you know top 10 list that you of people that you're trying to go after right now? What are the types of people that you're trying to go after?
Yeah. I have okay, so now I kind of want a few different I'm going through different like season 1 was really like sports and business related
Hmm.
because that's the identity of myself, right?
Yeah.
But then I feel like I need to branch out more. I need to learn from different people, right? So for season 2, I'm actually thinking female athletes in Hong Kong, but
Mm,
elite athletes. So
mm,
in my pipeline, I'm thinking like someone that went to the Olympics, like
mm,
competed in the Olympics. The first WCBA player from Hong Kong, and then I have another one that is a runner. So that's one part that I'm going to. But if you ask me top 5 maybe, like I actually kind of want to interview Jackson Wang.
that would be amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean
that'd be
it's I
amazing.
think I think it's hard, but I think
Yeah.
through this clip I'm gonna tag him on social and we'll see, right? Like shoot
Yeah.
my shot.
Yeah.
The reason why because I've seen he's being very very active lately in terms
Yeah.
of like going on podcasts,
He's
sharing his
yeah.
stories. Yeah, and he is an idol from Hong Kong, right? Like
Yeah.
he is from Hong Kong. Mom's Shanghainese, I believe. So he speaks fluent Canto, Chinese, and English, which is the perfect representation of what we're looking for, like Asian Americans or just people that have an international mindset, but at the biggest stage. He's
Yeah.
at the biggest stage right now,
Yeah.
right?
He's incredible. Just like his one is his charisma is amazing, and then two, just he's everywhere. Like, how is he
Yeah,
everywhere?
I don't know. Like, I go to Thailand. It's like all everything. Like it's all his commercials, right? And I feel like he is just so down to earth,
Yeah.
so authentic. That's
Yeah.
why I want to interview him not because he's Jackson Wang.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to interview him because he's Jackson Wang, but he is so authentic and down to
Yeah.
earth. Where I feel like it would be a great conversation to pick his brain.
Yeah. That's a great yeah, that's a great target.
Yeah, yeah. If you ask me one more, I think it's never gonna happen. But if I ever had the chance, like Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
only if we could go back in time,
Yeah.
even like a 2-minute conversation with him would make my world.
What would you ask him, Kobe Bryant?
Good question. Good question. Maybe something related to his mindset. So
Mm,
I might just ask him how, you know,
mm,
how can you be so dedicated?
mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
just how?
So you mentioned a couple times that you not only got your master's in like business MBA, but you're now getting your doctor's MBA or
Yeah,
DBA.
yeah.
How like
DBA, DBA.
why and tell me more about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it all goes back to my injury. Okay. As a professional athlete, you train 3 times a week minimum with the team, and then you have like individual training sessions and gym sessions and rehab and then basketball games, blah 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 blah, right? So imagine that chunk of my life is gone, just gone. So and then I was talking to people online, and then I was meeting new friends. I had more time to travel because I was recovering, and then my EMBA classmate actually told me, hey, there's this program, DBA, you should take a look. So I went back and I took a look, and I was like, okay, it seems interesting, but I never thought it's like I didn't really think about it until like I had more time, and then I applied, without any prior knowledge. I didn't really do a lot of research, and then somehow I got in. And then during that moment, during that process of should I go for it after getting in, because if they didn't accept me, I don't even need to think about it, right? But once they accepted me, I had to really think, do I want to do this for the next 4 years of my life? Yeah, it's 4 years of my life,
Yeah.
right? and then and then I was there. There were few things that I was thinking. One is because I always wanted to be a public speaker. I mentioned before, or be some type of like influencer in a way where you're influencing people, not selling products, right? And I felt like having a doctor's degree might help with everything, in a nutshell. And then the second part is, it's very competitive in Hong Kong for the kids to get into schools. So they don't only interview the kid, they look at the parents, right? So if I'm a doctor, it should definitely help. It should help, right?
Yeah,
Like no matter
right.
what, like doctor, right?
Yeah.
And then I always wanted to go back to Chinese university or other universities to teach, as a guest lecturer, to share my experience or what I see in the world in terms of sales and marketing or like entrepreneurship or even podcasting, right? Like, so that's kind of that was everything that I was thinking, and then I just felt like, just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you learn, or what do you do that's different from the masters?
We focus a lot more on research, how to write your thesis. So
Mm,
this was very new to me. Like I was a calm communication major. I didn't need to do like a thesis. I only did like presentation and paper. Even for my EMBA, it was a presentation or a project. But this time it's like, how do you identify a topic? How do you gather data online? What type of research you're gonna do? What are the contributions to the society after you publish this paper, for example? So
mm,
these are kind of, it's more in depth, right?
yeah.
Like in when you're getting my EMBA, it was more like case studies, learning from what corporates are doing, doing presentations on a topic. That's it. It was more on the surface level, but this one is more like deep experiment type of data research.
So is there something specific you're working on right now?
Yeah. So I just passed my thesis proposal defense. So my topic is social media anomaly and corporate voluntary disclosure.
What does
Okay.
that mean?
Okay. So basically, it's like having real name authentication when it comes to social media will affect how corporates are willing to disclose during their like earnings report, for example. Yeah. So just to give a context, right? Mm, like let's say stock message board, let's say, I don't know, or Glassdoor, Glassdoor.
Yeah.
If Glassdoor requires real name authentication,
Hmm.
then all the comments, it needs to be it needs to be legit, right? You can't just type random stuff,
Hmm.
because people know who you are, or
Yeah.
eventually they can find out.
Yeah.
So by doing this, then the company can decide, do I want to speak more or less, depending on what is out in the market. So if there are a lot of good things about company A that are on Glassdoor, then maybe they can just pull back on information sharing, like public relationships, because the narrative is already great.
Mm,
But if there's a lot of hate comment, hate speeches, then they might have to come in and reshape the narrative.
mm, got it.
So I'm kind of doing this type of research, but it's more on like finance, on the finance side, and
Got it.
we're using China as the database. So all Chinese public company, how much are they willing to express or voluntarily disclose after the implementation of real name authentication?
Got it. And so then you're basically looking at, so where's the real name authentication happening? Just so I
China.
understand.
So China is the only country right now that has this policy, because it is super hard, right? Imagine, I don't think the US, well, I'm not sure, like the US now is kind of different.
Yeah.
But in theory, like
Yeah.
because of freedom of speech,
Got it.
this is not going to happen in the US, right?
Yeah. So what you're telling me is that China, in order to post anything on social media, they have to use their real names.
So, okay, yeah. So basically, it's like this, right? In 2010, China made this policy where all cell phone numbers need to be tied with an identity, ID card,
Yeah.
right? And then in 2015, they push out all social media related or internet related, like website, like WeChat. It needs to be tied with a cell phone number,
Hmm.
meaning that it's tied with a real identity already.
Hmm.
And on top of that, it does a facial recognition
Mm.
process, right? So everything is kind of regulated.
Got it. So what you're saying is that you're studying these corporations and what they're disclosing in their financial um, reporting before this was implemented, and then after it was implemented, and seeing the changes in what's going on. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, so basically we're using like 5 years prior to the the regulation and 5 years after, right? And then we take like because it was implemented 2015, so we're using 2014 as a benchmark. Like let's say 1,000 like listed companies in China, how much are they disclosing? And then on the flip side, how much are people like talking about them on these like message board? And then we kind of compare it before and after, like with the law, applying, and then to see what are the results. I haven't done the whole study experiment yet. I'm still in the process, but this is like what I'm doing right now for my DBA thesis. And if you really think about it, I feel like this is such a great topic because having a real authentication means a lot of different contributions to the society as well.
Yeah.
Hate speech, for example, right? Child abuse.
Hmm.
So these all could be fraud, spams. These all could potentially be eliminated
Mm,
if it's proven that it
interesting.
helps, or.
I honestly, I never thought you would go this route. Since when we were hanging out in Beijing, I had never thought this is the route you're taking.
Um, okay, I
Yeah.
have a question for you later. Okay, but
Yeah.
I kind of want to share what you said, right? Like, if you ask me, like, I don't think I would have, like, getting a master's was the
Yeah.
max that I could have done, like, I was already
Yeah.
really, really pushing it, like, and then now that I'm getting my doctor's degree, is like,
Yeah.
where did this come from, like,
What was the question that you had for me?
yeah. So I actually kind of want to ask you this. You could answer this towards the end because then you might have more full story. It's like 15 years ago we met in Beijing, right? Roughly 15 years ago. What what was your impression of Taylor back then, and then all the way to 5 years ago, and then now? Like I wouldn't say evolution,
Yeah.
but maybe the development of myself, like from your perspective. Yeah,
You're still really young. Like, I think when we were
yeah,
going to business school at the time, I felt like you weren't there yet in terms of like uh even knowing that you wanted to do it or ready to do it, right? I I've always seen you as someone that was really thoughtful and very good socially. And that was something that I really liked about you, and I really picked up on, and I wanted to be more like you in terms of how you were able to read situations and how you were able to bring people together and how you were able to make everyone feel comfortable and build groups. Like that was like what I felt like you were amazing at. But like from an academic perspective, I didn't even think that you had any interest in that. I thought you were just into basketball and you just wanted to play basketball. And you were open to kind of like figuring out work by almost like sports like, right? Just basically going in there and like hustling your way into it and trying to figure things out. And it was less of an academic thing, and it was more just like, okay, let's just use our intuition and our personality and our charisma to like navigate our way through the thing and figure stuff out. And then so then when I then basically 5 years ago, I was like, okay, I had no idea that you would first actually try to get your MBA because I didn't think that that was something that you were interested in. And then the second piece of it was like, okay, like it makes sense to me that you ended up becoming such a um, successful person at Expedia, but I didn't know that you were like you'd be interested in corporate either. Like because your family is pretty entrepreneurial. You're like a business person. You really understand kind of like social dynamics, and that piece of it like made sense to me. But then going into corporate politics and doing the institutional stuff, like, I didn't think that that would, or and do also do the academics. I had no idea that you would do that. 5 years later, I'm very happy that you have a family, and that's awesome. And makes sense to me. The the meta thing makes sense to me because like it's just a continuation of the Expedia route, and then the DWIT podcast direction completely makes sense to me because I think this is who you are, like really who you are. And this is where your talents are going to shine. And if you just keep investing in that, it's going to do really well. Because I just know that the skills that you have and the talents that you have can be put into this, and you'll really be able to figure out your unique contribution. Um, the the doctor's MBA, I wouldn't put myself through it. I'm just very confused about that. But I'm very impressed by your willingness to do 4 years of more academics. Because I personally like I joined MBA, but I dropped out a semester because I couldn't handle it anymore. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, thank you, Will. You know, I would have okay, I
Yeah,
have more stories to tell you, to share with you, right? Okay, let's go from when I
okay.
was 16 years old. So basically, I think grade 10 or grade 11, like, in Hong Kong, we had this parent day. Basically, my own teacher, like teacher, told my mom, "Hey, your son is not gonna be any useful if he stays in Hong Kong. He's not gonna
Mm,
make it in Hong Kong. If you have the ability, send him somewhere else." Basically, she was saying that your son is useless because I was at one of the most
mm,
prestige all boys school, right? But I was at the bottom, the lowest at the low. Um, I never really remembered that conversation, but my mom, when I graduated from university, she actually brought that back up. So she was like, "Remember what someone said, like when you were blah blah blah," and then that moment was like, okay, that
mm,
really meant a lot to my mom, right? Someone saying that your son is useless, he can't make it,
mm,
just go play basketball. I mean, of course, she sent me to overseas, but you know, I kind of went through the everything to get my degree, my undergrad, right? So that was one thing that kind of embedded in my mind. And then to go back a little bit more when I was like 13, 14, or even younger, like five, like eight to like 14, I've been approached by movie producers, model agencies to be like those what child stars, you know. My parents
mm,
didn't want me to do that. So sure, fine. I had no choice, right? I didn't know. So that was another thing that was in my mind, right? And then I've always wanted to play basketball. I shared that I got scholarships to go to college, professional. I could come back and play, but
mm,
then they didn't want me to come back. Fine, no problem. So my whole life is about things that I couldn't do when I was
mm.
younger. I'll do it now. Meaning that I will go play at the highest level in Hong Kong when I'm 28 years old. A 28-year-old rookie, right? Pretty hard to think about that. And then, you know, I was gonna do my MBA in Beijing with you guys. I didn't. Something happened. I didn't do it. I'm gonna
Mm,
do it again by myself in Hong Kong.
yeah.
I did my EMBA, and then um, I could have been a model. I could have been a really famous star by now. It didn't happen. So I'm starting my own podcast. I'm doing it on my own.
Yeah, I mean, all the things that you were supposed to be doing, now you get the chance to do them.
Yeah. But then I feel like it's better that I'm doing it now
Yeah.
because I'm more mature. Like I have more resources. I know what to do. And the environment allows you, right? Like 10 years ago, you're not going to have podcasts or independent people trying to do their own show, right? But now it's possible with the internet, with social media, all right? Like now is the right
100%.
timing, I feel like.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like you have a very
Yeah.
unique story, a very unique perspective, and even just the guests that you're talking about. I feel like in Hong Kong, like, and just the podcast general media in general, they're not covering the type of stories and the type of perspectives that you're covering. So you bring a very unique perspective to yourself. And also because it's not just sports, right? It's business.
Yeah.
And it's not just business,
Yeah.
it's like academics, and it's like corporations. It's like there's so many different perspectives that almost like are hard to find that Venn diagram for people, because everyone kind of lives in their own silo. But you kind of have this unique Venn diagram where you're just in the middle of that, and that gives you
I like to call myself the connector. Like nowadays, because like my Chinese name is bridge, right? Like it makes sense because I'm bridging like people to people, building communities, and then like-minded people to share their story, right? So that's kind of what similar to what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome. I'm very excited to see
Yeah.
what comes out of DWIT, because like I believe that if you just continue working on it, it's going to be something.
Hey, this is hard. Like this is something that I need to like seek your advice, right? Like you've done 154 episodes, right? Like
Yeah,
what keeps you going? Like because I put in all these work, sometimes you don't get the view counts, or
yeah,
like people don't. I feel like people watch it,
yeah,
but you don't get the feedback a lot.
yeah,
Sometimes I do. When I get it, it's great. Like those feedbacks are amazing, but then you get defeated sometimes.
yeah. I mean, for me, the more that I do something for the audience, the less good it is, and also the less motivated I am, right? Because it starts becoming something. Okay, what does the audience want, and then you start basically doing things that you're not that interested in. So I think the most important thing is to actually continue checking in with yourself, and it's like what will give you energy and what will make you excited. And if you follow that, then the podcast will be really interesting because people can feel it. And when people can feel it, then that's that all. But if you're trying to just play to what the audience that you built needs or wants or are asking for, that's when you get into like a danger zone. I mean, we've made so many pivots with this podcast. We were a crypto podcast for a while. I think the last year we've only had like one guest. It's been just me and Andrew just talking for the last year. And we're just finding reasons to use the podcast as a format for us to do things, right? A lot of the podcast has been around building relationships. So who's interesting that we want to basically spend an hour with to allow us to actually build a relationship with them. And that's all that was enough for us is the relationship. Over the last year or so, it's just I've been doing so much internal work. And it's each like thing that I do and each thing I learn is I sit on a podcast with Andrew and I kind of share my learnings. And at least for the last year, this podcast has become a way for me to document my growth. And so this podcast is just a tool for me to do whatever it is I want. That's how we can do so many episodes. I'm less concerned about who's listening. I'm less concerned about what the audience wants. Because this, for me, at least for me, is kind of like a way for me to create. And in order to continue creating, I have to basically follow my energy.
That's great. Yeah, I kind of have similar thoughts, right? Instead of chasing KPIs, it's more like finding the meaning. What I meant by that is like, instead of chasing how many views, how many likes, how many shares, comments that people provide after you posted this shorts or reels or long form, it's like if one day people look at it and get something out of it, I'm happy. It could be one person, it could be 10 people, I'm good. Because at the end of the day, as of now, I'm not trying to monetize. Like, I'm really not trying to monetize. I'm willing to, spend my time, effort, and even my own expense to record and push out high quality content that is beneficial to people that are in need.
Mm-hmm.
The latest episode that I shot 2 weeks ago, she was someone that I met when I was in Taiwan, and she has a very big following in the Taiwan community, the Chinese community, like 80K followers, and she's all about like mindset wellness, like depression, anxiety, how do you overcome it, because she went through that, right? And that was a big breakthrough for me, because these are not the topics that I usually engage in, but definitely is important for me to understand. And a lot of people are going through it, especially in today's day and age, like we talked about. So like, I'm branching out. Like, I want to learn different stuff. Season 2 is going to be different from just basketball, sports and business. It could be something mindset related. It could be female athletes, etc. So I'm constantly learning. Also, just trying to find different energies to push myself.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like entrepreneurship and creation is really all about growth, right? And
Yeah,
so it's like
yeah.
you're always on this edge of like, I don't know if I can do it. But so I'm a little bit scared of it, but also like it's really exciting at the same time, right? And so that living that edge is actually really fun because you're constantly forced to expand and grow.
And you're constantly discovering new parts of yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You,
That's what's happening for me right now with the retreat. So I'm putting together another retreat in January, and I've gotten all the yeses. I've collected the money, and I still haven't actually figured out what I want to do yet. And so I got the yeses, I got the money, and then now I'm forced to basically really create an experience for these guys. Um, yeah. So yeah, it's like I'm feeling a little bit like that tension right now. Yeah.
you have time. You have
Yeah.
some time. Tell me, share me about the retreat. Like, what you have in mind and what you have done before.
Yeah, so this is going to be my second retreat, my third one that I've helped run. Um, what I'm doing, so there's three kind of main reasons why someone. My pitch is this. One is being around other high performing, interesting people and having a connection with them. Second is basically a lot of the stuff that I do with coaching. Basically, how do you bring awareness to yourself? How do you feel your feelings? How do you figure out what your beliefs are? And third is like more clarity in terms of your values and where you're trying to go, right? And so the main thing for me is like, okay, first we want to establish the connection. Is how do we actually create a safe space for people to share and to connect? And the second is like the tools that I can share with people in terms of how do you actually be able to figure out what your beliefs are that's causing you to not get the results that you want, and how do you change those beliefs? And then just like a lot of those types of things. Basically, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to, because in my coaching I do a lot of this, and how do I package it into like a 3-day weekend for people? Yeah.
So when did you pivot to become like into coaching?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm still doing my company, but when I was 33, so 7 years ago, I almost killed myself, and I went to therapy after that, and so that was the first time I actually started doing internal work, and about 2 years ago, I had worked on myself enough where I felt good. I got married, and I was in a good place, but I still felt very trapped in my business. Like I had built this business to be free, but I felt so trapped. And then I turned to this coach that kind of helped me figure out why was it that I was feeling trapped. And a lot of it had to do with actually my own like trauma, right? So my mom was very tiger mom, and what I needed to do was grow my way out of my household. So I'm a very growth oriented person. I'm constantly trying to grow my way out of my household, right? Whereas my co-founder He's lived in LA his entire life. He married his high school sweetheart. He's living in the same city that he grew up in high school. And so he needs a lot of stability. So then we would trigger each other constantly because I needed growth, he needed stability. And then that's what was causing kind of the negative energy. And then so through the coaching process, I realized what was being triggered within me and what was being triggered within him. And then we changed the energy. And things have just been doing really well in the business. And as I was going through that process, I found out that coaching was something that I was like, we did like a 360 with friends, asking friends like what I was good at. And everyone just said I was good at coaching. He's like, do you want to try coaching? And then I just started experimenting with that. It started out with charging my friends $3,000 over 3 months. And over like the last year and a half, it's become like a real business now. So I'm doing like, the packages that I'm doing is like $15,000 for 6 months. And I've just literally hired 2 coaches this week to grow the business. So I have one coach that I'm paying $42,000 for over 3 months to help me expand the business, and then another coach I'm paying $3,000 a month to basically help me become a better coach. And I'll tell you how I got there is like, so I knew that coaching was my calling, especially healing Asian American men. And I wanted to basically figure out how to expand that to the biggest possibility. And so what I've been working on over the last couple of months is like, what can I hold, right? How much can I hold? And like, what is the, like, if I'm trying to heal Asian American men, I'm trying to coach Asian American, what is like the most scariest, most intimidating thing to do? It's coaching Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA. And so if Jensen Huang were to ask me, hey, Will, can you coach me? I couldn't hold that, right? Like I was too intimidated. So it was a lot of basically work of me visualizing and basically trying to calm my nervous system and to be able to hold Jensen Huang and be able to hold him and say, okay, if he asked me today, like actually, I feel confident to actually coach him. That piece, and also like I can create enough value in coaching that I can generate $100 million, right? I had to work my way up, like from like slowly. I had to basically every day morning just visualize and basically hold it more and calm my nervous system. But I've gotten there now, right? And because I've gotten there, now what are the beliefs in the nervous system that version of Will has that can coach Jensen Huang and it's making $100 million a year? I'm taking that belief system, putting it to me, and then now today, what does that person do? He hires 2 coaches that he's willing to pay that much money for in order to get better, right? And so that's kind of like my process. Yeah.
That's great. I mean, that's great because the last guest that I talked to, I asked her about this, something similar, right? Like I asked her for high performance, right? Pre-event, what can we do to make ourselves, more calm? So she shared a few things, right? Visualization, so what you talked about, as much details as possible so that you kind of can limit the surprises on stage or event day. And then the other one was breathing, deep breathing. 4-7-8, that's what she talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you, and babe, I mean, you are doing great stuff. I think being able to coach is a talent. It is really a talent. It's not easy. Like I'm a basketball coach now. It's not easy. Like even something that I'm so good at, it's so different. Like you might be able to play, but you doesn't mean you know how to coach,
Yeah.
right? So for you, identifying the strength and talent of you on that side, and then being able to really showcase it, I think is great.
It's really fun for me because in order to be paid the amount of money people are paying me, I have to become the person that people are willing to pay, right? And in
Yeah,
order to become the person people are willing to pay, and I'm sure it's just like being a coach for basketball too, you have to basically continue to improve, right? And you have to
yeah,
continue to level up, right? And so it's like a fun game where like I'm constantly trying to level up. Every month I'm doing something. I went to Joe's Dispenza this month. Last month I went to like a men's leadership retreat. The month before that I went to Tony Robbins. Um, I just hired 2 coaches, so I'm constantly trying to level up so that I can basically be the person that people are willing to pay or want to pay, right? So And for me, it's like, okay, how do you find the thing that feels like play to you that feels like work for others, right? And that's your competitive edge. And all of this stuff for me feels so much like fun, and it doesn't feel like work at all. And I'm willing to do this because it's so fun for me. And that's why like I can do this. And I think that's what everyone needs to find. Yeah.
Agree. Like 100%. Like similar, very similar. Right? Like doing the pod, to me, like doing a pod nowadays is like playing a real important basketball game, because the podcast is about 45 to an hour, like ish, right?
Yeah.
A full game of basketball, like at the highest level, is around like an hour and a half. But it's not just that hour and a half, it's about putting the work in before, right? And then once you play the game, and then the debrief afterwards, you know, the adjusting, which is like our editing, you know, like fine tuning how to really showcase the final product. So I kind of use podcasts to replace that highest level competition mindset.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it feels it's a performance.
It is.
Right?
At the end of the day, it's a
It's
show.
a performance. It's a live
It's a
performance.
show.
Yeah, you guys are basically co-creating together this performance. Yeah. It's awesome kind of seeing you do it, because I remember you telling me you wanted to do it, and it's really cool seeing it become like a real thing, and you putting a lot of effort into it, and it becoming like it's just the guests that you bring on is and it's just the video and audio, it's just such great quality.
Thank you. Like
yeah.
these are the comments that keep me like pushing and going, right? Like there are so many times I'm like, why am I doing this, right? Like but then, you know, like random, I was at a wedding, and then I was walking out to the bathroom, and then some guy just said, "Hey, Taylor." I'm like, "Hey," you know, like I don't recognize him, but then he's like, "I love your podcast." I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
Wow.
You know, like that was like
amazing.
that made my day, you know. That was the comment that I needed.
Just if you just keep doing it, it will continue to grow. And if you just have to just find a way to keep it sustainable where you're actually continually enjoying it.
Thank you. That's the goal. That's the goal for me. And I think one day when I'm done with my doctor's degree, I want to do even bigger things. But I believe it's a process. It takes time. Like if you ask me, I'm not ready to do bigger things right at this moment. But by then I should be able to, you know, continue to push the boundaries. I think that's the goal.
So DWIT, your podcast, do whatever it takes. What is your vision for it?
I tell myself this, okay? This is something that I've never really told people. I want to be able to sell out stadiums. You know, like that's the goal. You know, sure, you might think I want to sell a stadium to make a lot of money. No, it's not that. It's like I want to be able to influence people in a way where I share positive message through some crazy stories, right? And then with my guests, and then that being part of who I am in the future, it also helps me to show my kids in the future, like, you know, Daddy is an influencer. You know, he's trying to do good to the world. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now for DWIT. Of course, it's gonna change. Eventually, I want to monetize through DWIT, but in a more organic and positive way, right? Like, if I had the chance to do like commercials or sponsorships, like I don't want to just do random sponsorships that pay me a lot of money. I want to do things that actually relates to the brand that I resonate with, right? So that it's more meaningful.
I love
that's kind of what
I love that tangible vision of being able to sell out stadiums. I think one of the things that because I've been working on this a lot, but basically one of the things that you could do is just every morning just visualize that. What does it feel to sell out that stadium? And like basically, what does it feel to stay on the stage, in that stage? Because what ends up happening, and I'm gonna tell you this is actually happening to me, is that the more you train your brain that that's the end goal, I think it's called the reticular activating system, but basically like your brain will be start wired to find opportunities to get you there.
Yeah,
So there's two
I
things.
agree.
There's two
I
things that
agree.
happen, right? One is that, like, if you buy a Tesla, you'll start seeing Teslas everywhere. The Teslas are always there, but then it's just your brain is trained to see the Teslas, right? And so if you can basically imagine selling out at the stadium and actually feel it, and actually it feels like a calm energy where you've done it before so many times that it's like you're almost taking it for granted. The first thing is that your brain will be trained to start finding solutions to get there in an easy way. And the second one is that anytime you hit like a moment of a limiting belief, right? That limiting belief will be trained out of your nervous system already because you've already imagined yourself there already. So that's worked for me. And so if that's what you want to do, just really practice that visualization
Yeah,
part of it. Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna do that, and then also like I think it's right because I always have that in mind in the back of my head. I mean, I don't constantly think about it, but when I do, I really think about it at the same time. And then like I'm looking for different events, right? Like the new place that I'm shooting my podcast now, we actually had a chat and then they were like, oh, we can actually do a live event with like 20 audiences, and then they can set up like food and drinks, which I think was perfect,
Yeah.
right? Like you're gonna start small.
Yeah.
You're not gonna jump into a stadium
Yeah.
right away, right? You're
Yeah.
gonna start small, 5 to 10
Yeah.
people, see the
Yeah.
reaction, feel the energy. You need to practice, right?
Yeah.
You need to practice yourself too. So I think that's one of my goals for next year.
Yeah.
For 2026, I'm gonna do a live event
Yeah.
with a guest, and then just learn and absorb that energy and go for it.
Yeah. Amazing. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I have in mind. Okay. So Will, you mentioned you will be coming to Taiwan. You're gonna be going to Taiwan in January,
Yeah.
right?
January. Yeah.
So just Taiwan. You
It'll
won't
be
be coming to
Taiwan,
Hong
and then
Kong.
we're gonna spend a few days in Bali. Yeah.
Ah, okay, okay, okay. Okay. I'll introduce you to Chill so you can go check it out.
Yeah.
Jan is gonna be hard for me to go find you in Taiwan
Yeah.
because of the baby, but I do have plans to go to the US in 2026, and then or if you ever come to Hong Kong, we should definitely like do like a live session together, like in person, feel the energy. Um, if everything works out, we could probably do the live event together too.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited. I'm very excited for next year.
Yeah. I have a place to stay in LA, so if you ever want to come to LA, but yeah, I am very excited to do a live event with you.
Yeah.
So really glad we got to catch up. Thank you so much, Taylor. Hopefully it won't take another couple years to catch up again.
I'll come find you. Don't worry. I'll come find you. I plan on going to LA no matter what in 2028 for the Olympics.
Got it.
So
Okay, cool.
the worst is 28.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good. All right, thanks, Taylor.
Thank you, Will. Bye.
Bye.